Hi guys, it seems the knives are being sharpened within the Conservative Party for the Prime Minister as a growing cohort want him gone, and they may actually get their wish. Now, a change of hats at this stage could help the party in the short term, but it's unlikely to be beneficial in the grand scheme of things. Here, Tim Montgomerie, the founder of the highly influential Conservative Home, spoke to Times Radio about the current problem facing the party and the Prime Minister, and that most Tories want to see some sort of reboot. Have a listen.
I do not think Rishi Sunak will be Tory leader by the time of the next election. I think the mood amongst Tory MPs, is turning. I think there have been a number of triggers for it. Just listening to Kate McCann talk to you earlier as well about the fact that Tory MPs knew throughout the day that at some point Downing Street would have to get a grip of this race row and call out the fact that these remarks from Mr Hester were racist, alleged remarks from Mr Hester were racist. And eventually, of course, they did, but it took them a whole day. The budget last week was a complete non-event, falling to 18% in the polls, losing Lee Anderson. Day after day after day, it's getting worse for the party. I do not think this can go on. I don't know how it will happen, but I'm now on balance of the view that Sunak cannot do politics. He cannot do politics. Yes. A nice man, but he can't do politics. And the party will not go into an election with him as leader.
Tim, that is not just a thought for the day. That is a thought not just for the week. That's a thought for the month or the year so far. Yeah. I mean, it is a big thing to say, and you wouldn't say a thing like that.
I've been thinking.
Likely, I know you've been no particular fan of Rishi Sunak. Yeah. I know you think he's a decent guy.
Yeah, I do.
But you do not rate him as a leader or a prime minister of this country. You've been clear about that.
Yeah.
Something's changed in the conversations you've had and the quality of those conversations, and I suppose with the people you're having those conversations with.
They are senior people, they're cabinet ministers, they're backbenchers, and there is a lot of willingness. People do not, the average party person does not want to have to go through a change of leader again. They've wanted Rishi Sunak to succeed, but they're reluctantly sort of coming to the conclusion that it's just not working. And the 18% opinion poll rating last week,
That was an uncommonly low rating.
It was uncommon, but it fits a pattern. I think in the Spectator poll of polls now, for the first time, didn't happen in Liz Truss's leadership. They're now the Tories at 24, below 25. They've never been below 25 before. So Liz Truss was got rid of with better opinion poll ratings, better personal ratings as well. And my preference would be at some point, perhaps after the May local elections, which I expect will be disastrous for the Tories. I don't think the Tories will go for a general election in May. Maybe they'll act then. And I hope that Rishi Sunak would quit rather than be forced out. But I can't see the Tory party allowing this to go on.
I don't see it going on either. They'll have to do something. They'll either force Rishi Sunak out or he will be asked to leave and he will decide, okay, I'll go. Now, I think Rishi Sunak wants to hold on until maybe January next year, but the party won't allow that. It's disaster after disaster after disaster. Now, as I said at the beginning of this, there could be a short-term boost for the party, so they'll have a new leader, probably Penny Mordaunt. That seems to be the likely candidate, although she backed Liz Truss, remember. she sang many praises of Liz Truss when she backed her over Rishi Sunak back in 2022, and then we saw the disaster that was. So her judgment isn't the best, and I think that's going to come back to haunt her if she does become the leader. But I think if she does become leader, whoever it is, they'll get a short-term boost in the polls. Maybe even their approval rating will boost the party a little bit. But this is not what people care about. People care about what's happening to them on a daily basis. So while it may help the Conservative Party hold on to a few seats, if they if they replace Rishi Sunak, have a new leader in, hit the ground running, and try and have an early election, this could actually help them. But if they go for the long term, whoever they replace him with, it's going to be a disaster anyway, because people, once again, are going to vote according to the cost of living crisis. What have the Tories done for them over the last 14 years? Do they want more? Because people were not happy with Liz Truss. They were not happy with Boris Johnson. They're not happy now with Rishi Sunak. And all of those factors include one common denominator, the Conservative Party. So people want the Conservative Party out. They don't care so much about Rishi Sunak. People are not happy with Rishi Sunak, but they're more concerned about what the Conservatives have done to them over the last 14 years. So while people like Tim may speak to Tory backbenchers and ministers or whatever about how they can save the Conservative Party, they're missing the bigger picture here. How can they save the country? And they don't care about the country, they only care about themselves. And by prioritising themselves over the country, they're losing voters. I have said this before. If Rishi Sunak were to introduce a UBI, Universal Basic Income, it could actually help him. If he was to start pumping money into the NHS, change the rules when it came to bringing in doctors and nurses, there isn't enough time, but it could actually help. You would be seen to be actually doing something instead of just spinning your wheels, trying to distract. So I think going into the election, yes, there will be a new leader. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It's not going to really help the party. It may give them a little bit of a boost after the new leader takes over, but then that's going to dissipate because people are going to look at, okay, am I better off with the Tories or do I want change? And even people who have voted Conservative all their lives want change. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.